Hi there, everyone. I'm here today with Nick DeJesus, and we're talking about his football program. So I want to give a little bit of background about why we're talking here. So every month I send out our referral newsletter, and our referral news. Actually, I'm super excited about this. Like, you have no idea. So what happened? I'm just going to give a little background. So every month we send out our what we call our referral newsletter, and in it we talk about the worthy cause that we support, which is mental health research in CAMH. So that newsletter has always been 4 pages, and within that newsletter we talk about our worthy cause and how we donate a portion of our commission from every home sale to CAMH to help support people who have mental health issues. So earlier this year, obviously because of COVID and because of everything that was going on, we wanted to do more to support local businesses, because we felt like Amazon's going to take over the world, and all the small businesses were closed, and people were ordering from Amazon and going to Walmart and stuff like that, and we wanted to really kind of support local businesses. So as a team, we kind of sat down and thought, how are we going to do this? And the best way we thought that we could do this is to instead of having our newsletter be all about us, we wanted to promote local small businesses in that newsletter. So that's what we're doing. So we've dedicated the full inside 2 pages to some of those local businesses, so they can promote themselves, and we can hopefully get people to be shopping local, especially like for Christmas coming up and stuff like that. And so we're like just so super excited about this. So we've put together this newsletter. We're going to support local small businesses. If you are a local small business in our area and you want to be featured in this newsletter, because there's a lot more that goes with it other than the newsletter. We're doing we'll have a full page on our website. These videos like this where where we can feature people so they can see, other people can see what's going on, and everybody can kind of support everybody else. So if you're interested in that, very easy to do. At the end of this video, I'll tell you how you can get in touch with us to promote your small business. One of the things that you do have to do is get on here on one of these videos with me and kind of talk about your business and what you do, and go through that whole process, which I think is great. It puts a name to the face for sure. So in any case, so here we are, and this is the very first one that we're doing. So Nick, this is you're like the guinea pig here. So this is amazing. And I'm super happy that you said you would come on here and do this with me. So Nick, what Nick does is, I'll let you explain what you do in a minute in terms of your business. Tell us a little bit about what you do, and then I'm going to ask you some questions. Okay, so go ahead and introduce yourself and tell us a little bit about what you do.
All right. Well, first, I just want to say thank you so much, Sandy, for having me on. You're doing a wonderful job and a great thing for the community, helping out small. I appreciate that a lot. So my name is Nicholas DeJesus, Nick DeJesus, whatever you want to call me. And a couple months ago, I decided to start a quarterback or / football academy. And what I do is I train kids anywhere from the ages of I've had kids who are 7 years old to up until 18, 20 years old, right? And I'm 19, but personally, I've had a lot of experience playing football at different levels in different areas. I started playing football in Barrie, Ontario. And then from Barrie, I went to start playing in the States, and I played in Ohio, Maryland, Pennsylvania, pretty much all the northern east states there. And I learned a lot of notable coaches, guys who are in the CFL Hall of Fame. And so personally, I've absorbed a lot of that knowledge, and I think it would be almost unfair if I didn't give back to those people, who didn't have the same opportunities as me, to go to all these different places and meet all these coaches, right? So again, I'm never going to be one I'm not going to be as much or as knowledgeable as those coaches, but the thing is, I have a piece from each one of those people that I've personally taken, and I think if I could just give at least one piece to one kid, they'll definitely succeed, and it'll help them in their football career. And I also want to give life advice too. A lot of the people that I coach, it's not just relationship on the field. I check up on them off the field, and I make sure things are going well with them at home and school, because that's a big part to your success on the field as well. It's not just how good you are, but how good of a student you are and how good of a person you are. So yeah, that's pretty much what I do. I host football camps and I coach kids, but Just a little bit of the backstory.
Wow, that is amazing. So I have a list of questions, but now there's like a million other questions in my brain. But what I do want to say is, you're obviously extremely wise beyond your years. That's amazing. And I think you just said that you'll never be as wise as some of those coaches, and I totally disagree, because I think you're pretty much already there, to be honest with you. But it sounds like I have this philosophy that if you're like, to whom much is given, much is expected, and you need to give back. And it sounds a lot like, when you get to a certain place, you have to turn around and help other people up with you. And it sounds like you really, like, you do that as well, which is awesome. So congratulations to you, because as a 19-year-old to kind of have that mindset is huge, right? I think that's absolutely huge. So I think that, I think so. My daughter played high level sports, and I think a lot of it, I always thought, as I watched her, probably 80% of what you do in high level sports is mental, right?
Mm-hmm.
Like, you can have all the skill in the world, but if mentally you're not there, it makes a big difference. Would you agree?
Oh, I froze. Sorry.
Yeah, it's okay. Just take your time. Did you hear what I said?
Yeah, all I heard was from mentally you're not there.
Yeah. Oh, okay. So what I was saying was, like, in watching some of these kids who were training from a young age and coming up, like, she played soccer with girls who were on the Canadian national team, and like some pretty high level sports there, right? But a lot of it is very mental. Like, you could be the best player, but not necessarily mentally be there. And it not, I saw kids who weren't maybe the best player on the team, but they were the ones getting like full ride scholarships and stuff, just because of their mental conditioning and the way they looked at the game and stuff. So I thought that was super important. And I think that really relates to life in general.
Hmm?
Yeah.
Like, things that you learn playing on team sports, one I'll say is that, especially like, okay, you're someone who's bought, you on leadership, which will take you very far in life. If you build good leadership ability, then obviously if you want to run your own business or company, you could be, a good leader. And a good leader is someone who bosses people around, but they're actually going to lead the way themselves and put most of the weight on their back to help the people around them. And I think that's like what team sports teaches a lot of kids. And it also will teach you that, like, resiliency, right? Like, if you keep at it, you keep, and I use soccer as an example. Like, you're kicking balls for 4 hours, right? Trying to make that goal like perfectly the way you're supposed to do. That at some point there's going to be a point in your brain where muscle memory, now it's just conditioned, right? And you can take that exact mentality into life, where if you're working continuously, and like you're failing, right? Because we all fail. Nothing's perfect. We don't just start off professional and like continuously have that resiliency. Then you bring that to life and to school, to your job, your business, whatever it may be, and that'll help you succeed beyond sports. So those are definitely things that are good. And like being a student athlete as well is a lot harder, because now you have the added weight of not only having to succeed highly at your sport, which isn't just, again, like you said, it's a lot of mental things, right? You got to know your plays, you got to have good instincts. You also have to succeed in school and keep that grade to keep scholarship.
We're going to talk about that in a second. So I'm going to get you to hold that thought for a second, but we'll talk about that. I think my philosophy is there is no failing, really. Like, I think the biggest problem with our school system today, and I don't want to be negative about it, but what I see as a big issue is that the school system is set up this way: don't fail, don't fail, don't fail, don't fail, don't. That's all. That's it. Just don't fail, right? You got to fail in life. If you don't fail, you're never going to succeed, right? So I guess we call it failing, but to me, it's not a failure. It's a lesson. Everything is a lesson. You learn something from it. And if you learn something from it, it's never a failure. But you learn way more from when you make a mistake than when you don't make it. When you keep doing things right, you never learn. But like in football, I don't know a lot about football. We'll get to that in a sec. But if you screw up a play or you screw something up, you're going to learn way more about how to do it right the next time than you are if you always be doing it right. So I think that really translates to business.
Oh, definitely. Like, even like if, as a kid, like your mom tells you don't touch the stove, it's hot, and you touch it, you're like, it's hot. Like, you just learned, right? Like,
yes,
humans addition to have that visually oriented lesson, right? Like you have to really see yourself going through that loss, or like that, necessarily failure. I'm the same way. I don't really believe in the word failure. It's more of
Yeah.
like, losses are lessons, right? Like you can always gain. I think you can gain more from a loss than you can win, because you're gonna have to recheck yourself mentally and recheck your will. It's like, first of all, am I gonna keep going? And now two, how am I gonna better myself so I don't do that again, right? So
Absolutely. Yeah. That's amazing. So I'm gonna go back. I asked you to hold that thought. So here's my question. How do you manage all of this? Like, you're a full-time student, you're coach, you're running a business as an entrepreneur, and you play football. So how do you manage all of those things? Then you also need to have a social life because you're 19. So you got to be managing this, right?
You know what? If I'm being honest, I can't manage everything. Like it's one of those things where you have to have sacrifices and have to have priorities, right? So again, my list of priorities would be obviously my family, and then school, football, and then like all the businesses or whatever, and then social life honestly is last. Like I think for me personally, I keep my social circle small, and I like to have, like, if I have free time to spend on like social, it'll be with the closest people in my life, like my family,
Yeah.
my close friends. So again, it's tough because when you don't have a lot of time, you can't necessarily there for all these social gatherings, but that's the sacrifice you make, right? So it's tough. Like I only have 4 classes in university, but the commitment that comes to playing on a university program is actually a lot. Like
Yeah. I can
we
imagine.
again with COVID right now, it's a little bit different. So I'm actually blessed. I maybe actually have an extra 10 hours a week, but we still have practicing, right? We still have to practice. We
Yeah.
still have to, so I have to drive into York, the hour commute to York University, and then I have to do like an hour and a half lift with my team. And then we have mandatory study hall. We have like mentorship sessions, team meetings as well online. So like all this stuff is online again, but it would basically be the same if if it wasn't COVID, because it would just be in person instead of on Zoom. And
Yeah.
so that alone, like just the football commitment is already like it's quite a bit, but then you also have classes for school, right? So as a football player, most of you guys probably know you have to keep a certain level of, like, you have to keep a certain grade point average to keep your scholarship that you're on. So it's not like you can just show up and just show up and hope you're going to get your grade, right? Like I actually have to put in that work constantly every day. But I'm thankful for it. Again, I'm not saying it's that I have to, it's that I get to.
Yeah. You get to. Yeah.
Most people don't have the opportunity to go to university.
Yeah.
Whenever I find myself feeling flustered or feeling like I can't manage everything or I can't prioritize it, I just back to myself and say, I'm grateful that this is a problem, right?
Yeah. It's a good problem to have.
Yeah, like it's not like I used to do pretty much only private sessions. Like I would just do one-on-one sessions, but I decided that it'll work best for me if I could coach multiple kids in groups. So I do group training now. So I started up an elite football academy where basically like I did some like looking around like the province and also from the guys that I was training as well. So like who would be the most bought in if I had a camp for myself, like where I would train guys and it would be like once or twice a week, right? Like, it's tiring when you have to coach people who don't have a drive or like a love for what they do, right? It's just like you have to continuously push them and like drag them along when rather they should be excited to come to practice, right? Like
Yeah.
when you really love something, like, I'm excited every time I go to practice, right? Like when you have that mentality, you'll just get that much better rather than have to drag along emotions. So I kind of went off on a tangent there, but basically,
No, it's so true though. They have to want to be there more than you want them there, right?
yes, exactly. Like I shouldn't have to try and persuade you to work hard. Like
Right.
that should be the issue. Like I'm gonna teach you, I'm gonna coach you everything. Like that is never an issue to me. But having to push you to work hard and like do your best is not my job, right? That comes from within. So again, some people learn that at an older age or a younger age. Again, and everybody has that point in life where like they realize, shoot, like I've been kind of gliding and I need to actually step up, and I haven't been working at my full potential. So again, everybody's different, and it's just a matter of finding that drive and finding that passion, right? And when I have these sessions, I'm teaching a lot of like higher level things. And again, obviously, if I'm training a younger kid, I'm gonna teach them straight fundamentals. Like that fundamentals is the most important thing of football. Like you can be a pro, but in order to get to that pro level, you have to be fundamentally sound. Like all the fundamentals, the small things that people don't really think are like the flashy, cool, raw things, but you have to get good at that to the point where it's like you do things with your eyes closed, and like that's what like I still work on fundamentals myself, and
Yeah.
so it's a blessing to be coaching these kids because one, I've personally gotten better in my football, like in my position, because now that I'm coaching, I'm forced, and I put that pressure on myself, obviously, as being a young coach, but I'm forced to have a much higher knowledge than, you know, even than I did before, like say 8 months ago. Like I've been studying the game. I study the game daily because like it's what I love to do. So yeah, like that's just you have to have that drive personally. Like I can't be here just showing up and giving my half effort, because then it's going to reflect on those guys, and I just impact like say like 10 or 15 like lives negatively. So I always want to go in there knowing exactly how to coach these guys, and I'm learning obviously too. Like it's helped me better myself. So yeah, it's definitely been a blessing coaching these guys. They're all great football players, and I'm obviously looking for more guys. Like the more the merrier, more competition. So yeah, I went off a
That's
little bit.
amazing. That's okay. I've heard something before that kind of along the lines of what you're saying. So when you're training and doing those fundamentals, like, and I think this came more from, I mean, maybe I read a lot of books, so I was reading about like SEALs amaze me, right? Like that, like people in the Marines and people, that kind of stuff is fascinating to me. And I think what I was reading was when you're in battle, you will like fall back to your how do they say it, like your lowest training or your training, whatever you've done there, right? Then that's why you have to work on those things, because that will is just what you'll fall back on, right? Like you'll fall back on what you always do. So a little story about that. I remember when my kids were young, and I would so I would go to, like, let's say when they had like track meetings, like school track meets or school, like, baseball teams or things like that, and then the kids would show up. Kids would show up that played rep.
Yeah. Oh, it froze.
Like play would have all their equipment and all that kind of stuff. And I used to think at that point, like they were kind of showing off. But then I realized later on that, like when my daughter started playing, I realized that that is just the way they play. Like that is the way they play. They're trained that way. They're trained to, like, you need to have your equipment, you need to have this, and they can't go there and dog it because they don't know how, right? Like I read a story about what's his name? Oh my God, basketball player. And they were shooting a commercial, and he had to miss the basket. And he couldn't miss the basket because he's just so trained to hit the basket that he couldn't, like, it took him like 10 tries to be able to miss the basket, right? Because your brain is not working that way. So I think that's kind of, I guess now I'm going off on a tangent, but it's okay. But I think, like, you just fall. That's why you need the fundamentals, because you naturally fall back on that. And if you're doing all of those things right, when you get into a slump or whatever, you, like, as long as you're doing everything right along the way, everything else will fall into place, right?
Yeah.
I guess at the end of it. But it's still amazing that you can manage all of this. And I get it. Like when you're at the level that you're at, something has to give, and maybe that is the social life, which is probably fine in the long run, because your social life becomes your teammates and the people that you practice with. But I think that, like with COVID and having to do everything online, I think that presents a whole lot more problems, because there is a big difference between sitting in a room with everybody and having that energy and being online. There's a big difference in that, right?
Yeah. Yeah. Like, I mean, again, like we see, like we much smaller groups, like 10 people we'll work out with, and like practices like before, I think it was like 3 weeks ago or 2 weeks ago, Toronto like went back to stage 2 or something. So before we were practicing with like, I'd say about 30 people, and we were throwing, so that was good. And like again, like social media, the power of social media is kind of nice because you can reach out to these people and like have conversations, but again, it's not the same as, personally interacting with somebody or going out and doing things with people. But you know, there's things you can control and you can't, and like
Yeah.
everybody same situation, right? So it's not like anything's really being lost. It's just kind of being put like on hold. So
Yeah. Okay. So, okay. So I have this dream of like being a quarterback in the NHL. So where do I start?
yeah, so if you want to be a quarterback in the NFL, you have to first love the game. Like when I
Yeah.
say love the game, I mean like an undying love. Like I mean, I'm not a quarterback in the NFL, but I could speak from my love to the game where it's like my parents will make fun of me because I'm in the kitchen throwing air footballs, right? Because like I want my form, like, you know, it's
Yeah.
repetition, right? So like I'm always
Yeah.
like working on my repetition, and I think like passion is the first thing because that's the highest level you'll get to in football. And to get the highest level of anything in life, regardless of what it is, you have to have an undeniable passion for it. And then you also got to be extremely like fearless because there's going to be so many doubters, so many people will doubt you, you'll doubt yourself, your family will doubt you, and there's always going to be the risk of the unknown as well. Like if I make this decision, like do I know what's going to happen, right? Like if you don't know, you have to be willing to take that risk. So, you know, I guess in football, you have to be willing to make the decisions, like say for me, like going to a different school, like when after, you know, going from high school to university, and then what decisions you'll have to make after that. And plus your decisions that impact your like who you are like in the public eye is also big as well, because again, it depends on what level of football you are, but when you start succeeding, people are going to notice that and people are going to watch you. And then, you know, obviously you in a perfect world there'll just be everybody rooting for you, but there's a lot of
Yeah.
hate on you as well. And having to like understand that your social, I guess, trail, like what you do will always follow you regardless. You may think it's on low key, you know, but what
Yeah.
you do will always follow you. What you say, what you do in public, who you like hurt or who you disrespect. So that responsibility of being, I guess, being aware and being like a socially right person is also something that's difficult. But you know, if you want it, again, it goes right back to passion. If you want
Yeah.
it, and then it just like it's just about like how bad you want it in the sense of how hard you're willing to work as well. Like it's not easy. Like you have to push your body to the
Yeah.
limit. Again, it's something that some people are born with an undeniable talent, and then
Yeah.
there's people who have no talent at all, but because they put in numerous hours a day, like it's the only thing they live, breathe, eat, sleep, like they'll do anything for it,
Yeah.
they still make it, right? Because when you're at that point where it's like you'll literally do anything. Like you'll wake up at 3 in the morning and you'll hit a workout, then you'll hit yoga, then you'll stretch, and like you'll practice twice a day, you know, like you'll watch film. Like film's also a big piece, like watching like the plays and everything and like learning the game. Doesn't matter how old you are, you
Taking the
always have room to learn
criticism
the
too,
game,
right?
right?
Yeah, and I
Sorry?
think taking the criticism from people, not criticism,
Oh,
but taking,
I
I
don't know
guess,
why
direction.
I can't hear you, Sandy.
Okay. Can you hear me?
I don't know why.
Okay.
It could be just me.
Okay. I'm not sure. Can you hear
I
me
don't
now?
know what's going on.
No? Just give it a
Sorry, I
second.
don't know.
That's
Can
okay.
they hear it they can hear it in the
I
live?
can hear you. I can hear you. Maybe it just dropped there for a second. Can you hear both of us on? Can you hear both of us on there? Okay, but if he can't hear me, it doesn't help because he can't answer. Okay. Yeah, I think it's so maybe text him and tell him it's
Okay.
okay. Okay. I can hear you, but you can't hear me. Okay. 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 Okay.
Should I just leave and then join again?
Yeah. Do that. Yeah. Yeah. So I'll just stay on this Facebook Live post for a second and just talk a little bit, I guess, about the newsletter, and just about this young guy. Like, oh my goodness, this guy is so cool. I'm just like mesmerized by him. But anyway, so basically, what we're doing here, I'll touch a little bit more again on this on the newsletter. What we're doing is we're trying to feature small businesses that are in our area and in our clients that we've done business with, and clients that we've that have small businesses, because we have a lot of clients that either run a small business or they run a small business on the side. Like maybe they're a DJ, or they do baking and stuff on the side. And so what we want to do is feature these people in our newsletter so that people can be shopping locally, and people can be supporting some of these businesses within, which I think would be amazing. So that's what we're doing, and that's why we have Nick on here. So I think he's going to be, yeah, there he is. Can you hear me now, Nick?
We're good now.
Okay, awesome. Okay,
what happened? Absolutely.
Don't worry. I held it down for you while we were waiting for you there, so we're good.
Thank you.
Okay, it's my pleasure. You know what? Technology is great when it works, and when it doesn't, it sucks. But anyway, we're here. This happens. So let me ask you, how did you start this, I guess, and why did you start this?
Well, I had, honestly, like, there was just one day where I just had the idea where I was like, you know what, like, I just want to coach quarterbacks. It was summertime during quarantine, and I was working, actually, like I was working a full-time job, but I just thought I wanted to do something like that would, like, help me, help myself, and then help other people. Like I thought that how much that I know, like, and everything, like how my drive with it will contribute to other people's success. So what I did was I started with small, like I had like maybe two guys. Like I had a couple guys I reached out to, and I just like started posting on Instagram, and people really started to follow the movement when they saw the unique drills I was doing and everything. And
Yeah.
I also have my prices way lower, because for me, this isn't my full-time income. Like
Right.
I have another business that I do, like with like investing and everything, and that's my income. But
Yeah.
it's like I don't need to charge so much money like these other coaches do. Like, and I know from like my personal experience, when I was like 15, 16, and I wanted to get coached by these good coaches, it was like I couldn't afford it. Like I could maybe see them once a month, maybe that.
Yeah.
So to me, it was tough, and I was like, I just want to make sure that I can give these players the opportunity. And I'm not saying I'm the end all be all, but I mean I have a lot
Yeah.
to work on, but I think I could definitely help and be a good mentor to a lot of players. So that was basically like the thought process behind it. And as I started doing it, like obviously when I started, it was a little different because I never really
Yeah.
coached, but the people, my OGs who held it down with me from the beginning, and they're still in my like elite quarterback camp, like they've gotten so much better. And they that to me is the best feeling in the world, when they're saying to me, like, since I started training with you and like until now, like it's night and day. Like
Wow.
my fundamentals are better. Like I feel more confident. They're stronger. So to me, that is definitely very important, and that keeps you going. You know what I mean? Like that motivates me to keep
For
coaching,
sure.
because I want to keep helping these guys and impacting them.
That's amazing. That's amazing. Oh my God, I love it. Okay, so let me ask you another question. For like, let's say aspiring entrepreneurs, like young people like you, what kind of tips would you give them to get started? Like I always say to people, just go as far as you can see, and then you'll be able to see farther. So what would you say to someone who's thinking of starting something like this, or another type of business? Doesn't necessarily need to be, I mean, could be a young person like you starting any type of business. What would you say to them?
So again, I always say that it's not worth doing it if you're not going to put your 100% into it. And that doesn't have to be 100% of your time, but when you're doing it, it's your 100% of your effort. And if it's the only thing that you do, like if you're just fully going to just be a full entrepreneur on this one company, then you better put 100% of your time into it, because if you'll be able to succeed a lot faster. And like the whole business world is based on, I say, like opportunity and competition, right?
Yeah.
Because you're going to have the opportunity to create this business, but now when you enter that business industry, there's going to be competition. So for example, with me, there's going to be competition with other coaches. And again, like I don't necessarily do it so much for the money,
Yeah.
right? But if I were to do it for the money, you got to understand that you have to have something that differentiates you from these other coaches, from these other businesses, because that's what's going to get people who want to like go to you, because your product is different, your service is different. So the passion, like realistically, like going into it at 100% is important. And then also, I would say the sacrifice, where your time, like if you truly want to be successful, again, you could say you have a business and you're an entrepreneur, but you go out Saturday, Sunday night and you party, right? And
Yeah.
Friday night and you party, right? So like those are nights that are wasted because you could be getting ahead of your competitors. You could be getting evolving your business. So you have to sacrifice sometimes. And I think starting as an entrepreneur at a young age, again, I'm only 19, so I can't tell the future, but I know like from previous success stories that you have a big advantage. Most people start their business when they're like in their like late 20s, 30s, and that's fine
Yeah.
too because everyone starts at different spots. But you having this early start, one, I can risk more because I don't have kids, I don't have a family I have to provide for, right? Like if I want to risk and I want to put it all on the table, I can, and I also have more time.
Yeah.
And you also have a lot more time to get like learn your lessons, right? And again, take those calculated risks. And I think also while having those risks and doing those lessons is the resiliency to keep going through failures or lessons, right? Like it's not going to be easy obviously, like, but if you are persistent with it and you believe in the vision, then you can get other people to believe in your vision as well. If you don't believe in your vision, don't bother trying to get other people to buy your things or whatever, because you're pretty much scamming them.
Yeah.
Like if
Yeah.
you can't believe solely hardly in your
Yeah.
company and what you do as a person, whatever it may be, your service, you need to get out of the industry, because in order for people to see that, you got to see it first. And when I solely believe this, I can sit here and I could tell you about it and can continuously show you why it'll add value to your life, because I believe in it and I know
Yeah.
for a fact that it's going to happen. And I would also say, as like a final thing, I would just say like, well, no, I mean I already said it. Like, just be different. You know what I mean? Like,
Yeah.
add your aspect to it, right? Like, you don't have to sit here and like, again, for certain businesses you may, but like, you don't have to sit here and like, be perfect. Like, add your own touch to it, add your own flavor to it, and also help the community around you. Like, I'm sure your business is very successful, and like, you don't have to say obviously on this call, but like, for you to be out here helping other people, that just
Yeah.
shows how like socially right you are. Like
Yeah.
I wouldn't have the opportunity to be on this phone call with you right now, like, talking about my business and my journey without you having to go through your resilient journey, and like giving this opportunity to small businesses. So again,
Yeah.
I could say I haven't really been able to do that yet. I'm starting to. I want to start my charity.
Yeah. We're going to talk about that in a second too.
Okay.
So I want you to talk about that because that's huge. So you're truly an incredible young man and very passionate, obviously. So that will take you far. I think that everybody. I'll just tag on a little bit of what you said. Like,
Yeah.
our team, every single person on our team truly believes in giving back to the community, and that's what we're all about. And I mean, I have a sales trainer, and my sales trainer, he always says the first, something you said earlier, what he always says is the first sale you have to make is to yourself. And that's true, because you have to believe, you have to have a passion in what you do. You have to believe in what you do. So everybody on our team, and that's one of our core values, and we hire around that, is everybody on our team has to believe in giving back. It's not about, it's not just about us, but if you can help enough people get what they want, you can get what you want. That's basically our philosophy, the way it works. So I do want you to talk about your charity in a second. Yeah, actually, let's talk a little bit about that. So I understand. So the reason you're basically on this call is because of our referral thing. So I am like, this is exactly why we do this, is because of like, just talking to you is so inspiring, and I'm so happy that we had you on this call, and I'm so happy that this is the way we decided to go with this newsletter and everything that we're doing, just because of this, because you're so passionate and just obviously love what you're doing, and giving back to people is huge. I think we're all put on this world to serve others. That's what we're all here for. Like, if you're looking for the meaning of life, it's to serve others. And I think I see that in you, like that passion in you, and I think that's amazing. So you're doing all of this. You're going to school. You're training other kids. You're doing all this, and you have a charity aspect to this. So you're starting a charity. to help kids as well, which is like just unbelievable to me. You're so like you're very wise beyond your years for sure. So tell us a little bit about that and what you're hoping to do with that.
Yeah, so I'd say this is maybe about a month ago. I had an idea. I was actually talking with my girlfriend Daniela, and like we were just like pondering about things, and I was just like, we should do like some type of like charity thing, like through DJ5, like maybe like do like a food drive or something. And then like I did some research, and with COVID and everything, I think it would just be too difficult. And like again, I could always make an impact like that, but I think my biggest like my biggest contribution could be through like say like a social aspect of like how much of a network I have. So I reached out to Sick Kids, and through Sick Kids I was able to get in contact with their basically like charity like foundation drive, like if you want to
Yeah.
like start like a campaign. And what I wanted to do was, well, what I am doing now, because like I've been accepted into their program and everything, and my website I think will be up in two weeks, I believe.
Okay.
And what my plan is with that is I'm gonna run it through DJ5, and I'm gonna call it DJ5 Drive for Kids, for Sick Kids. And why we're doing this is because again, there's a million charities out there, and I genuinely believe in being charitable, because if you have a lot to give, or if you have the opportunity to give, it's your responsibility to, as a good person, as like like a child of God, whatever you may call it. And like I support all charity foundations that are socially right, because there are some out there that do take
Yeah.
people's everything. Like I don't want to make money off of this. I want it just to be an opportunity for someone else. And my heart, honestly, my heart like will always fall for kids. Like knowing that some of these children, some of these babies straight from birth or whatever it may be, even older, like they they were put onto this earth, and some of them right from the birth are they're going through issues, health issues, and like they're battling straight out of the womb. And like that is inspiring. And
Mhm.
it's also sad because those kids didn't ask for it, you know what I mean? Like they didn't deserve that. And not that anybody does, but
Yeah.
it's tough. And I think with the aspect of how much healthcare costs, it's some parents can't afford it, and we're blessed to be living in Canada where our government will fund these things. But you know it's obvious that like there's underlying costs and everything. And I think to like help contribute to like one kid's life, two kids, whatever it may be, like I want to do this for the rest of my life. But that to me is huge and very important. So again, I went off a little bit there, but what we're going to be doing is I have a website up, and through my quarterback academy, like I'm going to take like a portion of basically like whatever money I make through my academy and donate it. And I'm also going to be starting like a winter league as well through my academy. I don't know 100%, but there'll
Yeah.
be a large, like basically almost all of it for that foundation.
Yeah.
And I also have a big network, right? Like I've played in a lot of different areas. I know a lot of coaches. I know a lot of like teams, gyms, like even like I've worked at like many different places, and like through my other business as well, like I have a lot of connections. So I think if I can rally up some sponsors, some people who will like put some money down and want to be a part of the DJ5 drive, then that'll definitely be a big kickstart. And then I'll just have, any donation counts, you know what I mean? Like you want to put in $10, $20, like
Absolutely.
that's
Yeah.
that's going to contribute. And if I'm being honest, like my goal is within a year of this, I want to raise at least $100,000
That's
for sick
amazing.
kids. That's
Yeah.
a goal. If you put that like that goal in sight, and you understand what you have to do in order to achieve that goal, I think I think it's very viable. And then even obviously COVID has limited us a lot, but like I have plans to like run events for sick kids for like through football, right? Like maybe like
Yeah.
you can have those kids come out and like do a little football camp. Like I know personally, like this story breaks my heart. When I went to a football camp in the States, right? It was like one of those like invite only things, like
Yeah.
and they had a program called Never Ever Give Up, and it's kids who are going through cancer and like going through chemo, and obviously it's tough, you know what I mean? Like these are like 5-year-old kids, and they're being,
Breaks your heart.
yeah. And some of their goals are like their wishes are to come out to these camps. And I remember this one kid, he came and this name is slipping me right now. I can't believe that, but
Yeah.
he and
Okay.
we were running drills and I gave him a football, right? And like I saw him like doing his little drill and he was so happy and he ended up passing away and like it's sad to see that because it's like even though they might get help, their life still may be short lived. So like while they're on this period, instead of like remorsing and like feeling bad for them, like give them the opportunity to enjoy life and like
Yeah.
have that experience where it's like, oh, like I'm playing sports like regular kids, right? Like to them, to regular kids, that just might be something we take for granted,
Yeah.
but to those, that's like the biggest thing in the world. So I want to start like a at my school. I want to go into once Sick Kids is open. I want to go in weekly and
Yeah.
meet kids, give them shirts and everything, and be a big part of that community. So
That's
yeah,
amazing.
that's the plan for the DJ5 drive for Sick
That's
Kids.
amazing. So we're going to put some information later, but I think like you said, something every little bit counts, and it does. Because here's the reality: if you're not going to give 10 cents out of a dollar, you're not going to give anything out of $100 or $1,000 or $100,000, right? Like that's just the way it goes. So whatever you have to give for whatever is your passion that drives you. Like mental health is my passion, and I feel very strongly about it. So that's why I'm always supporting mental health. But you, do you I guess, do you understand how incredible you are? Like that you're just like an incredible young man? Like, do you get that? Because,
That's humbling. That's so humbling to hear. I appreciate that.
oh my
No, I
goodness,
work.
like yeah, it's amazing. It's amazing what you're doing, and the passion that you have and everything is like you got a bright future ahead of you for sure. There's no doubt in my mind. Like that's incredible, the ideas and stuff that you have, and surrounding yourself by having the knowledge to surround yourself by like with like-minded people is really going to help you. And you obviously do that because I know Daniela and I know her heart as well is the same. So that's amazing. um, yeah, I'm like super thrilled that you got on here. So here's what I would like to do. So we are, if you can give us your like contact details, how people can get in touch with you, and if they want to talk to you or they want to help you with your charity, and we'll type that into the chat here. So if anyone wants to get in touch with you, but once you get your charity and stuff up and running, like let me know. I'm down to help with whatever I can do. Um, we can promote it. We can, do a recap in our newsletter later on once you get this up and running and everything, because it really is a huge drive. And kids, of course, with nobody wants to see kids suffering, and you're right. It's really sad that some kids are going through this, and we are blessed that we live in a country that their parents can not have to worry about what this is going to cost. So it's amazing. But I mean, there is still costs involved, right? Like most of these places that help kids, they rely on donations from people just like you and me, and people that will help support us along the way, right? So that's great.
Yeah.
So go ahead and if you wanna say anything else about how people can get in touch with you, or what you have, anything that you have coming up that anything like that, go right ahead and let us know that, and then we'll probably wrap it up because we've been on here a bit, and I so appreciate you taking the time out of your day to do this, because really I know you're a busy guy. You could be doing anything right now, but you agreed to get on here with me, so I really do appreciate that. So tell us how people can get a hold of you, and if you have any anything coming up that people can take advantage of.
Yeah. So again, thank you so much,
My
Sandy.
pleasure. Oh my goodness,
I appreciate Daniela for setting this up as well between us. Like I'm very glad to meet you through this, and I'm probably meeting you in person anyways. But to get in contact with me, I think I don't know if you get, but my number, like my phone number, is good, and I have a pretty big presence on Instagram, like that. My number and Instagram would be good. I don't really use Facebook as much, but you can
okay.
shoot me a message on Facebook.
Okay, so hold on, I gotta stop you for 1 second. Okay, so I know very little about social media and stuff, so I may say this wrong, but how do people get in touch with you on Instagram? How do they follow you on Instagram? What's your name on Instagram? Is that what you call it? A name?
So if yeah, so you're like your username. So if you go on Instagram and you go to
Yeah.
like the little search bar and you search up DJ5
Yeah.
Academy, know, DJ, right? I don't know. It's like reversed in here, but DJ5 Academy, like with the number 5. You
Okay.
can reach out to me about anything about football. If you just want to get in touch personally, my Instagram, like my personal Instagram, is my last name, but with a V instead of a U. So it'd be DEJSVS.
Okay.
And Instagram is a pretty very like I check that every day. Facebook
Okay.
not so much, but again, anyway, and then my number as well. It's 705-220-6326 and
Do you
yeah,
know what email is? Do you,
my pardon.
do you know what email is?
Yeah, you guys can email me too. I
Okay.
don't know if it's a long email. Should I like just type it out? Or?
Okay, so we're gonna so we have your contact details and stuff in our newsletter, and we also we have it in our physical newsletter that we're mailing out to everybody, and we'll also have a link on anything that we're sending out. We're also gonna type this into the chat for you, so we've got your phone number there in the chat and your Instagram name there, so if people want to get in touch with you. That's awesome. So I really look forward to watching you. I'm going to be watching you because you got a hell of a future in front of you. And we'll have you on again here at another, like later on, to recap what's going on with you because it's incredible. So just keep it up. Just keep doing what you're doing. It's awesome.
Thank you so much, Sandy. My heart goes out to you and your team because you
Thank
guys
you.
do great things for the community, and I know you guys are going to keep growing and helping people just like you helped me and presented me this opportunity. So again, it was a blessing, and I'm really grateful for the opportunity to be on the call. And I hope everybody, like enjoyed the call and maybe got something. Me and Sandy were dropping some value on here.
I think
Some
so.
light value.
There you go.
I appreciate it a lot.
It's my pleasure. It's my pleasure. So we'll chat soon, I'm sure. And have a great day. I look forward to talking to you again. Okay.
You too. Take it easy.
Thanks, Nick. Okay. Take it easy. Bye.